Now that corporate tax is coming in the UAE, what is your best advice to companies so they can get their taxes right? Because here in the UAE specifically, if for tax evasion, they can have at least 500% of the penalty. Plus, also the period of limitation, it doesn't expire.
Yep.
The law is very clear to say if you actually did not pay the tax, they can go up to the heirs. When you're dead already, they can go to the heirs and confiscate, whatever is left just to get the money if you fail to pay the taxes. So, what's your best advice for companies,
Oh,
CEO?
I can summarize that in three things, right? First, it's
Oh,
people. First is
uh-huh.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Second is data.
Oh,
Data. And then the
uh-huh.
third is collaboration between tax people and the business people. So let
Mm.
me explain that a little bit. People is
Mm-hmm.
you got to have people that understand the law, can put
Yes.
together a structure, a process to basically comply with the tax law, file the tax returns, and maybe automate some of the process. That's need to be driven by people. So I would
Mm.
say company need to have the right people to manage that process, just like in finance, in business. First thing
Mm.
first is you got to have the right people to do that for you. How big of
Mm.
the team you can decide, but you
Yes.
got to have a core team with people with the knowledge, right?
Mm.
Then the second part is you probably don't want to do things manually in this
Of course.
era of time. So you will
Mm.
probably want to automate. But the
Mm.
first thing you before you automate, you got to make sure you capturing the data correctly. For example, all these transactions are happening
Mm.
in Dubai. These are domestic transactions. These are international transactions. So you're capturing the data correctly, classify them right way. With wrong
Mm.
data, you're gonna have wrong
Yes.
outcome. Garbage
Of-
in, garbage out. So
Mm.
so I would say first invest in people so that's somebody leading the process,
Mm-hmm.
and then making sure your data is clean. Then you can start hopefully automating, put in place some processes, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
third thing is I think there's where a lot of misunderstanding and mistakes happening in the past is people think that the tax people are just backroom people.
Oh, yes.
So when they design the business, they're
Ah.
saying, let's do it this way. And then let's
Mm.
the tax people manage that after the fact. I would
Hmm.
say integrate the tax people early into the process so that when you
Exactly.
build a business model, the tax, just like legal and other things, are already built into the business way of doing things.
Hmm.
Some people will think, oh, tax is just a cost, right? They
Yes.
forgot in other countries, tax can be a big advantage to a lot of multinational companies
Of
because they
course.
were able to use tax planning to lower their tax rates legally,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So when you look, I think in your country it's good that the tax rate is only 9% for now,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Going for
Yes.
next year. But when the tax rate is much higher, and if
Hmm.
you're able to save tax on that, so for example, in the US, tax rate can be more than 30%. In some of the
Huh.
country in Asia, 25% to
Mm.
30%. If you can reduce a certain percentage of that taxable
Mm.
income, right?
Mm.
The 5% of something is very, very significant. It's almost like part of your profit margin.
Yes. Yes.
So I feel that a lot of companies are under investing in their tax resources, thinking that
Mm.
tax is
Mm.
just a backroom compliance team,
Mm.
instead of thinking them as part of the business. And if you do
Mm.
it rightly, you
Mm.
avoid double taxation, you have a
Yes.
chance to lower your effective tax rate,
Mm.
and basically with the return that you can get on your tax savings, that would make the company more competitive
Of
because you
course.
got more money. You
Mm.
got 5% more than your competitor. That
Mm.
5% you can reinvest, or you can use it to motivate your people to work better, right?
Even better, right?
Yeah.
So let me summarize that there. Those are actually very good tips. I definitely agree with you on all of that. So to get your taxes right, Terry said, invest in your people. You need to have the right people who understand the taxes because, of course, to get everything right, you need to have the right staffing, the right number of resources, the right people who really understands who will support you, the right data. As Terry said, automation is not enough. You need to make sure that you have the correct information that will, of course, support your business transactions and specifically your taxes. And the last but not the least, which I think is the most important, is the business, need to collaborate finance and every area of the business. It needs to be considered from the beginning. And I think what
Yes.
alarmed me, I was reading through Uber Karim. They have $100 million tax bill in Saudi Arabia, and
Mm.
the problem there was that they were actually incorrectly calculating the taxation part in terms of the VAT basis. And I think it's important for every company, startup, unicorn, whatever company, you understand what's the impact of taxation in your
Yes.
business. Because when you get it right from the beginning, it's like planting a seed right there. You
Yes.
cannot grow that plant if you don't actually take care and nourish it from beginning. So it's really, it taxes, as you said, it's not just a backroom function. It's a key function of the business that can help you first save yourself from fines and penalties, save yourself from cost savings in terms of this lower income tax and double taxation agreements. And I think these are very, very important things. So thank you very, very much,
You're
Terry,
welcome.
for your time.